Hey everyone, welcome to this very New Jersey edition of Tampa Tuesday.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who our guest is, but if you know anything about me, you already know who he is. I'm going to let everybody who stalks me on the internet take several guesses on their own before I give it away. But first, as always, let's get into events, local events, what's going on in our beautiful city. This actually, just heads up, this is going to be really short. I'm about to become an uncle for the first time, so that's why I'm in New Jersey, and I'm trying to wedge this Tampa Tuesday in New Jersey in a very short format so that we don't get in the way of all of our family events that are about to happen. So what is going on? I'm going to give you one thing that's going on in our city that you cannot miss, and that is fireworks downtown. If you've never seen fireworks in downtown Tampa, it's really the closest thing that you're going to get to a show in, say, New York City or Philadelphia or New Orleans, places that really do it big. And downtown Tampa. Actually, you were there last year, right?
The year before.
Year before last? Maybe.
I was there once.
You saw it.
It was exciting.
Yeah, the point is, if you're looking to see fireworks and there's a must-see show that you have to see, go to downtown Tampa and see the shows there. There are two shows in downtown Tampa. There's one in Channelside District, and then there's one in the actual harbor area right by the Tampa Convention Center. There is a way to actually see both at the same time, and this is a little secret of mine. Actually, if you go to the Embassy Suites, they have on the third level, they have a balcony that you can get out, and you can see.
No secret anymore.
Well, it's only going to be for the half a dozen people that actually end up watching this that don't know me. So, secret to them.
Right.
So, so then you can actually go on that balcony and you can watch both shows at the same time. My opinion, it's the best place to catch New Year's if you want to actually see fireworks yourself. If you want to stay home, obviously just watch the ball drop like the 20 million other people that are going to do it. So, but if you want to go out and you want to see fireworks, definitely recommend to see the Harbor Show, the Tampa Convention Center show, and the Channelside show. But the key is go to the Embassy Suites, step out on the balcony. You can see both shows at the same time. Really cool. I always think it's the best view in the city, in the city. And that's the one thing that you have to do this week if you're going to do anything. Everything else, I would say I didn't even really look at the events going on because, as you know, a lot of family stuff going on. It's Christmas time. Hope you guys had a great Christmas, by the way. Let's see. That is it for events. So if you haven't guessed already, the special guest this week is my father.
Hello.
This is Dr. Gary Knight, not to be confused with Gary James Knight.
Okay, don't make that mistake.
Don't make that mistake.
But it's not.
Dr. Knight, Gary James.
Okay. So thanks for coming up and sharing and all the exciting things that are going on.
The goodness of Tampa. So my dad's been bugging me because I actually told him yesterday that I wanted him to be on the show. And he said, you'll see.
That's good. It's all good. It's all good.
So, ironically enough, Willie was the first guest we ever had.
Okay.
And then I had another guy named Jeff, and then Jessica came on. So this is Tampa Tuesday number 4.
I see.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think it's just because out of my own interests, we end up talking a lot about business.
Wow.
So that was why I thought you'd be a good fit to come on the show.
Great.
Little background, and actually I'll let him tell the story, but my dad's been an entrepreneur since before I was born. Before it was cool. He's the entrepreneur hipster. He's the hipster entrepreneur because he was doing it before it was cool. So
in the 80s.
In the 80s. So why don't you tell people how you got in business for yourself?
Well, it was out of necessity. I was working in a orthopedic center, chief therapist there, and I had to get out. And I had 5 bosses, so it was difficult to work under those conditions. So I did a part-time office.
Okay.
My mom was the secretary. And we charged $15 a visit.
Wow, I had no idea. That's
Absolutely.
cool. You want to go to chiropractic school?
Well, I was very well versed in treating the back and orthopedics,
Okay.
spine,
Mhm.
and I learned a lot of manipulations and how to do manipulations of the spine. So I wanted to learn, more specifics, and I knew chiropractic had that.
Right.
So off we went, whole family.
What about your personal family history with chiropractic?
Yeah.
I know my
Your
family.
great grandfather.
Yeah, they don't know that
chiropractor,
though.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. My grandfather was a chiropractor, so just came full circle around.
Right. Do you kind of feel like that was just like in your gut, just something that?
I didn't know at the time, but
Really?
looking back, it's hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
So it's destined.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy because in back then, I'm thinking 1990, 1991, before Google, before YouTube, before you could actually figure out what the experience was going to be like before you did it. There was a much bigger leap
Oh yeah.
because you didn't. The beautiful thing about things like Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram, things like that, you can connect with people so easy. You can find anybody that's like 2 or 3 steps ahead of where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back in that time in the early 90s, you were lucky if you knew anybody that had even been to that school.
It was fairly new, 75, I think it was the first year.
Right.
So yeah, I did it on a shoestring. Did it on a shoestring and just, school of hard knocks.
Right.
But we survived, and it's a process, a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
So, gradually built and built and built to where I combined chiro and physical therapy together.
Hmm.
It's much more effective. It's quicker results. Benefit a lot faster. Plus, they get the knowledge of how they can, care for themselves and take more responsibility for their health.
Right.
So, looking back, it's been a great advantage.
Right.
To be able to develop and combine those two forms of
And that can be right. Going back to business, that can be rough because I find and one of the things that I guess I took from you is like be different, but different scares people. Different can really scare people. Being too different can scare people.
Oh yeah.
Because they're not familiar with it.
Right.
And I know it's taken you a long time to overcome that in your own business.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to give, because I know a lot of people right now, everybody has ideas.
Sure.
And most people do get tripped up in the execution, but then when they do begin to work those ideas, and they have a tough time building momentum. What would you say to someone that's in that position?
Well, I didn't try to be different. But chiropractic, for example, most people are kind of skeptical of it.
Right.
Back in the day, personally had a difficult time moving forward in the world, which was not ethnically advantageous to me.
Right.
So I had to fight pretty hard for, things that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But in the long run, I learned that much more too, because
Right.
I really had to be confident and skilled in what I do.
Right.
So in that sense, it helped me.
Right.
So I would say don't be afraid of what it is you want to accomplish, what you want to do, but do your homework and put your nose to the grindstone, and it'll turn out. If that's what you love doing, and I was fortunate to get into something that I prayed for, really.
Right.
I prayed for, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I could never be as long as I can work. Unhappy.
Yeah, I always tell people when there's two things I always tell people when I talk about you, and the first one is you're probably going to work till the day you die.
Hopefully.
Because you like what you do. The idea of retiring is like, that's for people that want to watch TV.
Whatever they want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you're the kind of person that you love what you do. You genuinely do. And I think that's one thing that, and you may or may not know this, but that's one thing that's really changed in the landscape of business. Where, for instance, in your physical therapy practice, you knew how to get business. Like, you knew how to actually go out. Like, you knew the steps.
Yeah.
Follow this, follow this, follow this, follow this, and business will walk in the door, Chiropractic, that was a little bit different because the way that money is made in that field for so long had been different, and but because you loved it, you had to find a way, and that was much harder to do 25 years ago than it is today, and the reason is because of the phone, and because we're all so connected. Now, it's easier to connect with somebody based on common interests than it has ever been before. So because of that, if you really love what you do and you're putting the right message out and you're telling the right story, it's become a lot easier to connect with people who live close to you and bring them in.
Right.
And so, in that sense, we have it easy. Our generation.
It's technology.
But you're definitely the first person when I had heard people say, monetizing your passion, what you're passionate about, is very real today. I grew up thinking that was normal because of you.
Okay.
I thought that was normal. Like, I thought that, why wouldn't you monetize your passion? It's like that's the only way you're going to be happy, And I think that people have such a misconception about success and happiness because, money helps. Money helps make sure that you don't have to worry about how you're going to pay your bills. Make sure that you don't have to worry about that you're going to take care of your family. But ultimately, it doesn't make you happy.
Correct.
No.
And
you have to have that in yourself before, especially before money comes along, because it becomes even harder to become happy if you have this massive wealth on one side and no happiness. Right. Because I've heard that money only makes you more of who you are, who you already are.
Well, I think that you're ready for whatever level you're at. Mm-hmm. Wherever the level you're at is what's going to come your way.
Right.
If you're ready for more, then more will come. But if your mindset and your values and your thinking is at a certain point, then that's where you're going to be.
I definitely agree with that. So would you say growth is the key?
Oh, change and growth is synonymous.
Right, and I think that's what people have such a hard time with today. I think that's always kind of been like that. Because change is hard.
Sure. Sometimes you might be thinking that you're going backwards, but you're actually growing, making steps towards the future.
Right, kind of one step back, 2 steps forward sort of thing.
Look at it that way.
Okay.
But, sometimes you have to sacrifice. When I went to chiropractic school, it was like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
2 practices. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But looking back now, it's certainly amassed more finances in the long run, not in the short run.
Right.
But of course, things have changed.
Right.
Also. But no regrets, that's for sure.
That's powerful.
Yeah, no regrets.
That's powerful. Because a lot of people, they get 90 and they're like, I wish I would have done that.
Yeah. That's tough. Just recently, I certified in functional medicine.
Just because? Or?
Well, I don't know how it happens, but nutrition and all that from years, fasting in the 90s, Dick Gregory, and 40-day fast.
Right. I remember you did that. Crazy.
So,
hey, babe, can you make sure this is still recording? Thanks.
went from white rice to brown rice to no rice to black rice. Just as far as nutrition is concerned.
Can you keep an eye on it?
So it just led there.
Right.
It's not like, one day I woke up, I want to do the functional medicine. It's just evolved into it.
Right. That makes sense. Well, I would also, I think it's kind of one of the things that I definitely wanted to say to you that I've never really, I've told everybody else this, but I don't think I've ever told you. You're the only person that I've ever known that once you got into business for yourself, you decided, I'm going to do the right thing.
Like what?
The right thing.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't about figuring out how to make money. It's figuring out what's the right way to do this. What's the right way to serve people through chiropractic? Because a lot of chiropractors that you see, they focus on auto injury or, getting referrals from lawyers or things like that. It's not really or the whole crack the back thing, the whole symptomatic treatment. So treating symptoms instead of treating the whole. And if I didn't have the experience from you of what chiropractic was, I never would have got that. And I know a lot of that came from just, I want to do this the right way, and being bullheaded about that. Because you always had the opportunities to go back and figure out how to make what you knew work in your practice today. But you decided, I'm going to do this the right way. Like, there is no compromise on building this business right. That's how you were going to do it. And so I definitely appreciate that a lot, because it makes it hard to just, and there's a lot of things that I could do in the real estate world to make money. There's a lot of things you can do. But I know that long term, it's not worth it, because you have to look back on what you built and you have to live with it. And I don't want to regret not being able to really help people. I would rather really help a handful of people than sell 1,000 homes, and know that I didn't really do anything but sell 1,000 homes. So, and then the other big thing is so in addition to just doing the right thing, but also figuring out what you really want and going after it, and just doing whatever needs to be done to make it work. I don't think I saw you sleep while I was in high school, ever. You were always the one waking me up. It was either you or Mom waking me up, but you were always awake. You were never in bed when I woke up. And when I was in bed, you were always at the computer doing work for the office, trying to figure out something else, or the courses or things like that. So, the work is real.
Yeah. Well, you're touching on very sensitive grounds, because in the sense of how I've lived my life has been in some sense of, how can I explain it? What chiropractic is.
Right.
This is why I was so attracted to it. From the inner, living from the inside out.
Right.
Living your spiritual life and developing that, and that being the source of strength and power that you live your life from. So that's another session right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But things evolve. If I look back now and at my life and see how things. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this, oh, I'm gonna do this, oh, I'm gonna do that. Just it kind of evolved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great way to live, as far as I'm concerned. It takes faith. You know? Sometimes you step out, and, you don't have the physical means.
Yeah, you don't have what you need. You might be missing some sort of knowledge, or missing finances, or most people say, I didn't have the right connections, I didn't have enough money, or I didn't have the right resources, or whatever. Bad market conditions.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
I don't think I had any of that. But I think I had the right source and the right means.
Right.
And through the power of God.
Right.
Which is a source of life and now source of strength.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus Christ makes that all possible.
Yep. So, I mean, it doesn't matter, even outside of him, you're never going to find purpose, and we know that. That's our experience. I don't think that my life really started coming together until I accepted Christ first.
Wow.
But once it did, it's like, okay, well, now what? It's like, okay, I have the secret to life. Now what?
Yeah.
It's people go around their life trying to find out the meaning of life, and I say, okay, find the meaning of life. Now what? Now what? Right. That doesn't make life all come together. You still have to live.
Absolutely.
You still have to eat. You still got bills to pay, no matter what. Mm-hmm. So, okay, now what? Mm-hmm. And so, but now that you have I think Christ provides the context that you need to live life. And this, because otherwise you're going to spend your whole life just trying to figure it out, or thinking you have an answer.
Or following some
the best thing that I've seen, the most stable thing that I've seen outside of that is somebody saying, well, I'll know in 20, 40 years if I'm right, because they have to live out this, their theory. And that's fine. I mean, they're happy, they're doing their thing, But I think that once you have Christ, you have this, not only just eternity on your mind in terms of what you're doing having meaning, but also with just in general, you know that you're working for something greater than yourself. And that drives, it's weird, especially in business, because business is so tied in with money. Right. And so people it's like, that's how you know you're called to be, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because if you are a business owner and you have peace and you're walking with God, that can only come together if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because like I said, business is so tied in with money, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in money. It's so easy because you get to the stuff where you start talking about, me, I'm huge on airplanes and cars. And that was tough for me to accept for a long time, because I know that's all just stuff. It's not going to be here forever. It doesn't last forever. Mm-hmm. And most people that want a Ferrari because of what a Ferrari represents, Most people. Mm-hmm. I would say most people that want a Ferrari want a Ferrari because they want to be picking up girls well into their 50s. And that's what they have to live for. Personally, I want a Ferrari because they have such a great racing history. They're specifically a '67 Ferrari GTO. I think this is the best car ever built. But it's also $18 million. The last time one was sold at auction, yes, it's all original. I'll take a replica. Because you can't even drive the original if you want to. But, essentially my point being, I only know that because I know what I'm passionate about. I asked myself, why do I want a Ferrari? Good. You're not going to go to the grocery store and get what you need for the week in a Ferrari. I'm not gonna get something for everybody else. If I just want a Ferrari to impress people, I can go on vacation. I can take that money and go on vacation. Yeah. So I wanted to just end and say thanks for all your inspiration and your help and the guidance that you give non-verbally.
Well, I'm glad you picked up on some things, because obviously you've taken that and taking it to new heights.
Getting there.
You know, so I'm glad to have the opportunity to express myself on your show.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Anytime.
Where can people find you on the social internets?
I'm at website concordwellness.com.
Okay.
Facebook.
You're on Facebook. What's the business name?
Concord Wellness.
Called Concord Wellness.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you on Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay.
Same.
Do you know your handle on Instagram?
I don't. But I know it's all connected.
Right.
So if you,
well, we'll put the Instagram's a really easy way to communicate with people. Instagram and Twitter, but more Instagram. A lot of people are on Instagram. So we'll put your Instagram information in the bottom here. And then how about if somebody has a general question about health, they'd be able to
call me.
Send you a direct message on Instagram.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Send me a message and you'll
direct.
Invite
people for direct messages. It's very non-committal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say, send me, not like when you do a face-to-face. If you're face-to-face with somebody, ask them for the commitment. But if, you're on something social, just say, send us a direct message, ask me a question about health.
Ask me a question, send me a direct message, Instagram.
There you go. DM Dr. Knight on Instagram.
Okay.
It's probably at Concord Wellness, but if it's not, we'll have the correct handle at the bottom. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
All right, Pops.
Okay.
Take it easy, guys.
See you.